Yeah! Power tools. Which do you need for your Harley Davidson? Yeah, catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you enjoying the channel and the series of videos. Please like, share, subscribe, leave those comments below. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com and click on the bell next to the subscribe button for all those future videos. Yeah! Right, so in this video I'm talking about power tools, drills and drivers and all that sort of stuff. What do you need to work on your Harley Davidson? Now, you've seen my other videos about the kind of hand tools that you're going to need, the metric or the imperial sizes and spanners and sockets and everything. But actually you can make life a lot easier for yourself by using a set of power tools. Now, possibly not a normal standard drill you may not need, unless you need to actually clear out some holes, let's say. You need to burr out something like that, but that would be more associated with a total rebuild of something. You may want to use this, attach a polishing stone on this, or a polishing wheel onto this, little grinding wheel if you need to do something like that, and that works really well. Really good, and that takes out a lot of kind of elbow grease, really. So that really helps in terms of a drill. As I say, normal drilling into things, is very rare that you would need to drill that for the kind of work that you would normally associate with kind of home maintenance, let's say. But in terms of other types of maintenance, like polishing, that kind of thing, yeah, these are really handy. Okay. Drivers, these are really good actually. As we know, if let's say you can get this, it just makes life a lot easier, especially when you're doing the smaller screws or nuts and bolts off your bike. These work really well. You can get little adapters in there to fit sockets on there as well, and you can actually have a longer and shorter shaft or whatever. I tend to use a long shaft, not that I'm compensating for anything, but actually it's just that they find it easier and get a bit more momentum going on it as well. So I tend to use this. So say normal bits, normal screwdriver bits. Say put an adapter in there, and you can put little socket sets, 10 mils or 3/8 or whatever on there. Works really well. I wouldn't necessarily use these for torquing down or anything like that, or tightening up. Maybe just to quickly tighten them up, but then I would always use the manual torque wrench to torque bits down. Okay, so that's the drill driver, right? The next thing you may want to go for is one of these. And I just, hold on, is it connected in? Hold on. Yeah. I think I might have shorted out the lights here. Anyway, what is this? This is one of these impact wrenches that you can use for removing tyres, wheels from cars and things like that. But actually, you may find these useful if you have to really undo some of the bigger bolts, or some of the primary the primary bolts as well. You may need to use this as well, not the casing, but the actual drives as well. So if you need to start removing pulley, you may want to use something like this. It's not absolutely essential, I've got to say, that you have this, but a couple of times this might be work in your favour. So you may want to invest in this, and these are kind of relatively inexpensive for what they are. So whilst you don't use them that often, you probably use it more in your car to take the wheels off, the wheel nuts off, than actually working on your bike. But there you go, one of these. Impact wrench, yeah. Okay, the next thing is one of these things. You think, well, what's that? Well, look at that. Oh, it's a hairdryer. There you go. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Right. Why would you ever need one of these? And I'll tell you why. It's a heat gun, basically. Let's say if you're ever doing any electrical work on your bike. Now, you can join wires up together by, stripping the wires, joining them together, soldering them together. That's probably going to give you the best join as well. Then covering electrical tape and everything. But actually, you can get heat shrinking covers that you can put over that join and then heat it down. That shrinks it down and it makes it almost watertight and airtight as well. So I'd always have one of these for for that kind of electrical work as well. The other time you can use this is, let's say if you've got any decals on the bike and you want to take them off. Well, if you just gradually, at a low heat, I should say, a low heat setting, just gradually heat up the decal, they will actually come off a lot quicker. If you watch my other videos about putting vinyl wraps, protective wraps on certain parts of your bike, you may want to replace those. It might get a bit grotty, and put cut out another template, let's say, and restore it for whatever reason, or replace it, I should say. Then it might be, depends on what time of the year it is as well. If it's really cold in the winter and you try and do that job, they can actually be really stiff. So add a bit of heat to it, just a gradual bit of heat at a distance, not too close. You want to be, good 12, 13, maybe more inches away from it, so you're just gradually heating up the environment around your decal, and then you'll find it'll peel off really easy, as opposed to struggling with it to try and peel it off if it's really cold or old. So that's it, it's one of these kind of things. You could also use this, let's say if you've got something that's a little bit tough to budge, whatever. It might be a bolt that is, a little bit tight. A screw that might be a little bit tight. You may want to try and use these for that. But it's not that great. It's okay, but it may work, it may not work. But I would suggest, if you've got something that you really need to heat up, I would say use it like a gas torch or something like that, like a plumber's torch. I've got a plumber's torch which I use here. Just heat it up and it works absolutely fine, no problems at all. So there you go. I mean, these are the kind of power tools that I would use in the workshop, just for general maintenance on the bike. As I say, the impact wrench and the heat gun, rarely use those, I would say. The drill, I would say occasionally use that, but it's say more for if you want to speed up the process. That's the kind of thing. If you really want to speed up the process, especially if you're using like a polishing wheel, that's really good for that. But the drill driver, I would say, if you can invest in one of these, if you haven't already got one, invest in one of these, and this will make life a lot easier. But having these two for general stuff around the house is always good anyway. But the other two power tools I've got here, then you might want to consider those in the future. Now, there are other things, of course, that you can consider, like a drill press, something like that. You could also have a lathe, to have in your workshop, or a lathe and a mill to have in your workshop as well. Once you've learned how to work the lathe and work a mill, you can make almost anything for your bike. So that's always good to have in a developing workshop as well. But these are the basic ones that you really need. Now, other things that you could have is rotary grinding stones, or a grinder. Angle grinders are always good as well, if you really need to get things out. But I say that is more for involved stuff when you're doing a restoration of a bike or something like that, or you need to get really deep into it and you need to cut something off, or shave something off, or sand something down, or whatever, then you would have an angle grinder. But for general maintenance on your newer bikes, you shouldn't need it. So these four I've selected here because this is going to be the ones you're most likely to use first of all in general maintenance and general mechanical work on your bike. But anyway, let us know what you would use on your bike. What power tools that you use, the makes of them. Are they good? Are they bad? Are you finding any difficulties with them? Do you find them a bit cumbersome? Do you prefer just using the hand tools? Do you think, well, you shouldn't be using power tools at all, which is absolutely fine? You should only use hand tools for all the time. It's horses for courses, I suppose. I personally would use a little bit of both. I mostly use hand tools, but occasionally I use some of the power tools just to make the life a little bit easier and make the job go a little bit quicker. But as I said, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's entirely up to you. But let us know in the comments what you use, and what you use it on, and what bike you're using it on as well. And do you have certain power tools that we use on one bike, but you may not need it for another bike as well? That's an interesting point. But anyway, please like, share, subscribe, leave those comments below. Check out the website, RevelatorAlf.com. Click on the links in the description and that bell next to the subscribe button. And I'm going to play a little bit more Driller Killer. Yeah! Catch you again. Ta-da.
RevelatorAlf.